Welcome to the Meeple Syrup Show, Designers Discussing Design. We're on episode 72, and start spreading the news. That's right. I'm getting to go to New York, and we're still trying to scramble to figure out a way to get Tyler there as well, because this weekend is the New York Toy Fair. It is basically like the Gen Con of toys for North America. And everyone knows that Tyler likes toys. So
Oh yeah, toys for boys, girls, adults, children, love it all.
and
You
so
like adult toys? Is that what you're saying?
but the beauty of
We'll
the New
leave that
York
for the
Toy
after
Fair
show.
is there is a growing segment. That's right. Probably, in the toy world, it was kind of looked at as like maybe board games were like fifth on the priority list. But now, board games coming into its, I believe, the 8th year in a row of double-digit percentage growth. All of a sudden, the Toy Fair is starting to pay attention to these board games, and it is starting to make a little bit of noise in the Toy Fair. So there has become more and more companies popping up, paying attention to board games, and so we're going to talk about the New York Toy Fair a bit and some stuff about that. Board games, all that jazz. But before we get there, we always like to see what people have been playing. And I'm going to pass over to Tyler and see what games have you been playing lately.
I have been
Kickstarters to
yes. I've been playing a lot of stuff. Oh my! It actually hurts my brain learning new games like every day. It's like It's like it's painful. I got Garden Dice today. Which looks really cool. It's a couple years old, but it's new to me. I really like that. Hendeltoff is launching on Kickstarter soon from Sweden, Switzerland. I can't remember. It's cool because it's got tiles, but you have an upper world and an underworld, and then it has a set board, and you're fighting people and monsters. I really enjoyed it. Hunting Season, cool new little deduction game where you're trying to get your opponents eaten by Bigfoot as you're out hunting.
Because that always happens. That always happens.
Exactly. I actually put a picture out on Twitter today. I was like, because it's got a big Sasquatch on it. I was like, hey, that looks like me. And then I did something today. I was talking with the company that produced Monstrous. And
Kim's company.
So I was like, hey, are you guys doing... Oh, because Odd Hack Welder is doing his glass face game, which I saw your picture for, Sen, and I had sent him a photo.
Yeah.
And Kim was like...
I'm going to get my photo in on.
Yes. So Kim was like, everyone, this guy's going to be in every game. And I was like, oh, is there an expansion for Monstrous? And so he's like, ha, ha, ha. So then I put my beard on the Cyclops on the front of the box.
It actually looked like you. It really actually looks like you. So I quite like that.
One big eye. It was pretty funny. So
yeah,
that's
imagine, Tyler with the same face, but instead of two eyes, he has one eye. Right there. Oh, there it is. It looked good.
So, son, what have you been playing, Sen?
I haven't actually been playing a lot. I'm getting ready. Well, that's not true. So I'm getting ready to travel in a couple days to Mexico to be with my better half, Jay Cormier, who's getting married to our other better half, to Danielle Steele. And so we're going to be in Mexico for a week, and we've got a lot of games to actually play. I don't know if Danny knows this. Or my wife and kids know this, but Jay and I are actually going to work while we're there so that we can write off the whole trip.
Nice.
That's part of it.
Surprise,
but no.
Danny.
Yeah, I know, surprise. So we've been working on Powers a lot lately, so we got that going on. Godzilla, we've got another couple iterations to go through just to work on some last final tweaks, I think, before we're ready to hit send on that one. And then a couple other games that we're going to be putting out. So yeah. Yes, we can talk about that in a second. And then I also got this bad girl. Now I haven't unshrinked it yet, so you're getting a little glare there.
What?
But you see that there?
Who does that? Who gets their game and doesn't open it?
Me, because I love them in their original format.
Yeah,
They're like action figures. I don't unbox. I don't open them.
that's crazy talk.
I also have several copies, so I probably will open one.
The first thing I do, it's like Christmas. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
that's
it's funny
crazy.
because it's funny because people actually will ask me, "Are you sure you don't want to open this?" It's like, "No, I don't want to open this." Are you sure you don't want to punch these chits out? I don't
Yeah,
care.
that's usually my first problem. I'm like, I've just punched 6 copies of my game. What did I just do that for? Like,
Yeah, and well, I don't punch them all, but I'm definitely bringing them around in the next couple of days to the cafes and whatnot locally to drop off copies for their libraries. And yeah, it's good because well, a it's a good game, but we just got reviewed by Tom Vassell of the Dice Towers, and
I saw that. Great
he
video.
quite liked it. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know much about the IP, but
Which is
hopefully,
actually kind of better for a review because
yeah.
it's like the fans are already going to instantly love it.
It's
But from
funny
a
though,
gamer
because some of the
perspective,
fans on that video, on the video, said, it looks like it's pasted on and stuff like that. It's like,
I just had a great idea for a video review. I could like film it 3 different times and splice it together, so I have like 3 of me sitting there talking about the game. Huh?
yeah, yeah, and
One with a black beard, one with long hair, and I'm Kalissima or whatever the heck her name is. I don't watch the show.
that's awesome, dude. You have to do that now.
that
That was so awesome.
you've just said that you're doing it, so
Clone Club,
you're
buddy.
pot
Clone
committed on
Club.
this one, buddy. You are pot committed.
That's
Yeah.
Oh
awesome.
my goodness.
That's pretty funny. So yeah, that's a thing. Orphan Black is a thing, so that's been good, and we're really looking forward to just hoping people like it, play it, and see what an interesting game it is beyond the IP. But also people, I hope people who like the IP like the game, and that's what we're really hoping for is that combination of people who like the IP, people like the comic book getting into games, people who like the games getting into the comic books and the IP. In fact, I know several people who said, "Oh, that's a game Sen's making. I'm gonna go watch the show now or read the comic book or something." So that's been positive. There's a little
So
bit of
take
cross.
that, Orphan Black.
Yeah. Well,
Reviews are
no.
from Sen.
Yeah, you're one viewer out of your millions of viewers. This guy right
You're
here. My
welcome,
God.
Voice Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, speaking of that, we should actually talk to Bryce sometimes about going down on set and
Yeah,
getting the
you just got a promotion.
oh good getting the maybe if I could ever get Tatiana to like sign this, then
Yeah.
I would open it. I would open a fresh copy for
Wow.
Tatiana to sign it.
That's what's required.
Yeah. Just the signature of a starlet. That's all. That's all that's required for make me open a game.
Wow.
I think I'll do it for less, to be honest. But anyways, what about you, Daryl? What have you been
I have
working
curly handwriting. I'll just fake her signature.
Nice.
on? Nice. You're the
I'm
worst.
clone number 12. Ooh.
I'll do a spoiler and show what I've been up to. I'm gonna switch my camera.
Yeah, switch the cam. Yeah.
Dun, dun,
That's right.
dun.
It's a mess right now because I've
Do
been.
do do
There's
do
even
do
spoilers
do
in the
do
shop. There's some
do
special
do
dice
do
over
do
there. I
do
don't know if I
do.
can say what they are because they're actually blurry.
Like extra dice that aren't in the
Well,
main set.
they're colorful. So
Oh, they are colorful. Look at that.
we're
It's
gonna
weird
go.
because I just watched the movie like 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Like
So
which movie though?
been playing
Yeah,
lots
the
of
new
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Basically, actually, I feel like that might be the only published game I've been playing. Yeah, no, because everything else is just my prototypes, or if I have time, then I play another round of that. So yeah, and we actually have a guest coming up that will be talking a little bit about that and an exciting live stream that we have scheduled for tomorrow. Should we talk about that right away? And
Sure. Why don't we
get
actually
into it?
bring our guest on?
All right. Why don't you introduce our guest, and then I'll talk about the upcoming event.
All right, so today we have on the show the one, the only Mr. Nate C. Murray from IDW, who is popping up. Here he is, yay! He has to unmute his mic, but Nate is not only a good friend of ours, but the man behind the Kickstarter campaign for the ever-growing Heroes in the Half Shell Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Kevin G. Wilson designed
Yes.
wonderful board game. How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. So happy with the big support and advice from Kickstarter backers. Good company.
Wow.
Well, was there a pair of air quotes around that advice?
Yeah,
It certainly
that's-
sounded like air
No,
quotes.
I think we've pivoted in the middle of the campaign and picked up some of their stuff, and I know Kevin and I both are learning on the fly as much as we can. But yeah, it's been wild. It's a lot of fun, and Daryl can attest that the final product is the most important part, and that's what's good. So I'm happy.
yeah.
Excellent.
It is a
Yeah,
bit of a
'cause
minor miracle that Nate is awake because he is basically nonstop on the comment sections or dropping into interviews or anything like that. So we don't know how long Nate will actually stay alive or awake on our show.
They company mandated me to sleep last night. There was a rule, and I've been told again tomorrow. But yeah, I think it was
But
like
not
85.
tonight.
Tonight I was allowed to play a little bit, but yeah, I think I did 85 hours last week, including a stretch where I was waiting, crashing at 11:45, and then up at 3:30 waiting for the dang Splinter unlock to get there.
Oh, that Splinter unlock, I was like, come on.
Everyone was, and so I was
Okay,
in the face. I'm
now
across the
you
face.
brought it up, so let's chat about this Splinter Unlock and why it's such a controversy, a controversy around the Splinter Unlock. What happened?
I don't controversy. You're
Well,
gonna have to drill me worse than that. I'm not throwing myself under the bus.
I was just going to say, I wish for controversies that bad.
Yeah. Exactly,
okay. So
right?
some people
Continuing to
said
back.
they were
Yeah.
pulling their pledges because of, this was a kind of a backhanded way of asking for more money, that you had to actually pledge more to get this thing. And so a lot of people were kind of upset, and some people were they misconstrued a lot of it because it's like, well, what do you mean Splinter's not in the base game? Well, Splinter's in the base game, just not as a playable, and all this other stuff that was just bad information spreading around the internet. And so people were getting up in arms about, IDW doesn't need money, IDW has this whole other thing and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. I'm pulling my pledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see the I'm pulling my pledge. Yeah, I saw some, but I'll say this: it's a mixed message because the biggest complaint we have is that we don't have add-ons.
Yeah.
That's the biggest I get. We're getting nailed for not having add-ons, but we're making it very simple. So our goal, as a company doing a Kickstarter that we expected, this would be a larger project. We expected, 400 is kind of where I was figuring it would end. It looks like it's going to go farther, but we wanted to deliver on time, and we wanted to not screw up the SKUs. If you've looked at some other campaigns that put out a huge amount of add-ons, other than the guys who are really good, they're late and they collate wrong, or they have to do 2 waves of shipping. We didn't want to do any of that, so we said off the jump we're going to do 2 tiers. We're going to do a lot of extra stuff for the first guys, and then extra stuff for the second guys. So yeah, Splinter's in the upper tier, but it's still on an per average pledge for a miniature style game. You're still paying less for our campaign than you are for almost any miniatures game you would back. So I get it, but we're trying to make it easy on everyone, ourselves included. We want to deliver on time. We want it to be easy. In the future, if we do this again, probably not for Turtles, but we might try an add-on strategy. But to do that for your first time and then be late and do things wrong seems worse than to keep it simple and get the game to people.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I have update number 150 from the Conan project. So
Yeah,
right, exactly.
So
yeah,
I got to jump in on this because I think sometimes it's the circular reasoning of the masses. I mean, literally before the Splinter announcement, people were complaining the Works deal doesn't make sense. There's not enough in the Works deal.
right.
And then literally the next item goes in the Works deal. That's junk. Why is there such good stuff in the Works deal? I shouldn't be forced to get the Works deal. And it's like, no, but deluxe is deluxe. Like, it should be that people want it. And the cool thing that IDW is still doing is everything's going to be accessible through these packs later on that you can purchase. If you right now just want to commit to the base set, get that, and you're going to be able to get everything down the road. You might not get some Kickstarter exclusive like lithographs or exclusive poses of miniatures, stuff like that. But you're going to be able to get any of the characters down the road. You might have to wait, but they're going to be available. So sometimes I just feel like it's just this impatience and this frustration that builds up, and then people are like, oh, shoot, I don't know what to do when people actually respond and make it better. So I'm going to start depending on the other side. So anyway, we're going to get more into that, but I also want to...
I have a question for Nate.
One sec, save it for a sec, because we have a stranger in our midst.
Oh,
no.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
That's right. Our other guest has appeared. Boyan is here.
Ooh, magic.
We only have Boyan for so long, so Tyler, we'll jump to your question.
I can wait. It's all right.
But let's, while we have Boyan hanging out in the shadows, and that's
I have slightly better lighting.
That's yeah. We gotta hear some news from you, Boyan, about New York Toy Fair.
Yeah, I'm going.
Some of our focus. So first off, could you tell us a little bit about, just for our viewers that have never been to New York Toy Fair, what is it, what's it about, and how is it different from, say, like Gen Con?
Sure. Okay, so tomorrow I'm heading out to New York Toy Fair, and it's basically a trade show for our industry. It's actually the largest for us, and Gen Con is mostly a consumer show. So the difference here is that it's basically business to business and not to consumers. And so you're going to have all the large companies there, Mattel and whatever, Asmodee and so on, and they will be talking to the big buyers from the stores like, Target and Walmart and whatever, and also small mom and pop shops, and everyone's showing their wares. Basically, it's the preview for what's coming out this year. So buyers come in February, and then they make the big purchases for summer and October. And I know some of you guys are like, well, we just had Christmas. Well, for the industry, they're just planning Christmas 16 right now.
Right. So New York Toy Fair is something that is not historically known as a board gamey thing. I mean, there's definitely board games there. Nate, from a smaller, or maybe not smaller, but a newer publisher of board games, do you see value in things like the New York Toy Fair over more board game specific conventions like Gen Con and Origins?
Yeah, 100%. It's actually easier for us to make a splash at a Toy Fair than it is at Gen Con and Origins, with so much loudness and with so much... Gen Con and Origins, it seems like 1 or 2 games wins the show, but Toy Fair is about setting meetings and going over your deck and showing your whole lineup to accounts that are going to buy not one copy at a show, but stock your line in several places. So our presence at Toy Fair is in the Diamond booth, and it's just nonstop meetings essentially.
All right, that makes total sense. Diamond booth, forgot about them. Yes, of course.
There you go.
And Boyan, wondering why you were going to Toy Fair.
I go every year, so that's the simple answer. I like to reconnect with my friends and see how things are going. It's basically you can check the pulse of the industry very well by going. So that's one. Two, I also have some secret projects that I'm working on, and so it's a way for me to. I know.
Jeez.
I know, secret projects. I can't talk about them, but it's a way for me to announce them to the industry, and it's very easy since everyone's in one place. So this is what I did when I produced Tabletop. I went to Toy Fair and I showed everyone what was happening and where we were going to go with it, and got a lot of good buzz. And it's easy to how do you say, like, in terms of infection vector, like, to get your ideas out there. If everyone's in the right place and all the key players are there, you can basically infect them and each other very quickly. So yeah, that's what's going on. Plus, it's New York. I mean, come on, that's awesome, right? So
absolutely, I love New York. I am a big fan. Coming back to Nate, I know you're not going to be there. But for IDW, what are the products or games that you can talk about that they would be talking about at Toy Fair, so that anyone who doesn't know, what are the up and comers for IDW for this season?
Oh boy, what's in our loadout here? We made Turtles is going to be a big focus. We've got a Godfather game that's really good. Dice area control.
The designers are okay.
Oh, is that yours?
Yeah, they're okay.
Oh my god, I forgot that was yours.
Goof.
I'm serious.
Really? Turtles that much eating your brain?
It's that.
Your brains.
See, I got mandated sleep last night. There was a reason.
Yeah.
So the Godfather box will be there. That's funny because I was going to talk very highly about that game, but now it'll sound weird. It's really good.
Yeah.
But it is a good game.
Don't do
It
that.
is a good game, and we just got the map almost done, I think. It's
nice.
gorgeous. So very cool. So that'll be a
love
focus.
Godfather.
Daryl, if you stop by and meet up with Jerry and I'm even
Kurt?
forgetting what those guy's name. Kurt.
Oh my god.
They'll have a mock-up of something from you.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's not
That's my
announced.
Twitter,
We're going to be
folks.
showing off a...
That's my Twitter.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a nice mock-up. We'll be showing off a word game I'm pretty proud of that has a mechanic that keeps word games from getting stale. So it's called Your 2 Cents.
Nice.
And essentially,
Who's the designer?
Jeffrey Neal Bellinger, Killer Bunnies, which is
yes.
an interesting choice for a word game, I know.
Yeah.
But
That's cool. I like that.
yeah. So essentially, it allows you to, like the standard word game of apples to apples, any judging mechanic, except that you can just fill in the blank and use your own answer too. So it prevents staleness, which I'm really happy with. So I think that's good mass.
And I hear one of the rules is you can spell wrong, so anyone can play any way they want.
Didn't.
Denied.
I think that so probably breakouts should be Godfather, Turtles, Your 2 Cents, and then the one that Daryl will see and we'll talk about. It'll leak there. We won't leak it today.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so,
Good news.
yeah.
Boyan, when you go to New York, in New York Toy Fair specifically, what is something that everybody who's a game designer should do at Toy Fair?
So some publishers actually accept meetings at Toy Fair. That's also another reason to go as a designer, is that you can have solicitations where basically you go and you say, hey, I have this game. Like, I'm basically pitching this nice little dice game, and I'll go and I will say, like, hey, I'll be here at this time, and then you basically do like the elevator pitch, the kind of walkthrough, and then if they're interested, you show them the game. And so for a designer, it's good to go because you can actually get your games published that way.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Nate, I have a question for you.
Go for it.
With the IP, and Sen always goes on about IP, and I actually don't know what IP means. But with the,
Well, it means that I just went to the washroom, so...
But with the Turtles IP, why did you guys go with the traditional old style Lairdman art and not with like the new? Hey,
Yeah.
Universal has the rights. We got the movies. What was the decision there?
Well, we have no rights to movie. We have no rights to. Is everyone seeing that, or is it just me?
Oh, it's everyone.
Oh, that's so good. That's the new deluxe box right there. all $300. So we actually are a licensee of the comic brands, Mirage, Old Stuff, and IDW are ongoing, which is a really good comic. One of the two I read every month. So that's what we're allowed to go with for our game. We are not allowed to touch the Nickelodeon cartoon, which is actually hilarious, nor do we touch the movies. There's a lot of character overlap, so that's good, but you'll see different versions of those characters depending on what you might expect. People have come into the Turtles from so many different ways. That's what's fun. You might have been an 80s cartoon kid, a Mirage kid, 2K cartoon, any version of the movies. People come in so many different ways. I can't tell you how many of the 6,500 comments are complaints that we screwed up the bandanas on the box.
They are wrong.
It used to be red. But I will tell you
Or the
this.
fact that it's in color. Like, why is it not just black and
Why
white?
is it black
I
and
would.
white?
You know
Yeah.
what, Nate?
Uncoded.
If you made a black and white version, I'd be so all over that. That's how
You
I
might-
remember the
You might
Turtles,
open the
right? So
box.
I might open the box.
Yeah, but everyone should know I sent those six He has 6 copies, not one.
I have 6.
Yeah.
Crack
You
a
know what
copy.
makes me happy? I can't call him out for that because that would be a jerk move, but you're allowed to.
Yeah.
You rush them.
I felt bad. They're like, "Where's our creator copies?" And I get them in the mail fast, and then they're sitting in shrink.
No, they're
but
gonna get open. They're gonna get opened.
I can make this announcement too. Mass has a different box than the Kickstarter. It is not a it's not a Kevin Eastman box at all. It's a Mateus Santaluca box. So
okay.
it is
So
a completely different look.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are putting it in. Is it going to mass outlets? TMNT is going to mass outlets.
It's going to hobby. I mean, if Mass picks it up, we'll see. But it's everywhere that's not Kickstarter, every store that orders not through Kickstarter, they will have a different box than what Kickstarter backers.
Right. Okay. Then that's good to know. That's really cool because I would
Yeah.
personally rather have the Eastman one. Right.
There you go.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, just before our next question, I just want to follow up with that, Nate. Because companies want to sink their claws, and this kind of goes into the toy fair, which I want to ask Boyan a bit later. They want to sink their hey, they're making money on this. Do you think if it explodes even more, that you'll see these other companies say, hey, do you guys think you can do this version of the game? Or, oh, can you put this twist on it? Or
I can say politically slowly. We had been inquiring about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for 2 years.
Okay.
And fighting very hard to get those rights. And there was another company that announced some Turtle game products, which surprised us because of how hard it was. So, yes, we have paved the way. There's another that is happening again with another license that Sen knows about. So, IDW are. We're very good at paving the way. We're very innovative thinkers, and yeah, we're going to prove that we can put out a good product, and other companies will try and ape it. But that's the way the world works. Like, you know, that's how trends are created.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're leading the way, though.
Leading the way. Talking about leading the way, got to come back to Boyan
With a leading question.
with a leading question. I
realize. Wait, hold on. Before you give me the leading question, I wanted to tag back to what Nate was saying earlier about licensing. There's a term we use called splicensing, where you take a license and you splice it up into smaller categories.
Yeah.
A lot of times people think like, oh, you have the game rights to Vikings or whatever. You're like, yeah, I have the card game rights to the comic book in this market. Like,
yeah, by this artist.
Right, it's like super gerrymandered. Like, I can do just exactly this and not use those images or that voice or this in whatever. You know what I mean? So that's really common.
For sure.
And so,
or licenses can even be open. They're not exclusive all the time. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You might even see multiple companies purchase the rights to that.
Yeah, but it also depends on how it's spliced up. Like, is it for mass market? Is it for this game mechanic?
Mm-hmm.
Into this whatever. So,
hey, honey, do you want to splice our marriage? No? Okay, sorry.
So it's one of those things that consumers don't really think about. They're like, oh, it's turtles, like all turtles. Like, actually, no, it's comics, the new comics.
Right. Yeah, you could. A good brand for this example would be Walking Dead, because it has Walking Dead TV on one side, then it has Walking Dead board and card on one side. Then it has right now Walking Dead miniatures, and that's how they're getting around Walking Dead. All of a sudden, because of Kickstarter, miniatures has become more of a category, and companies are doubling down and splicing and giving out miniatures rights, first board game rights to get another partner involved.
Right.
So
exactly.
That's how it happens. It is what it is. You just put out the best thing you can, and you don't worry about anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And also, if you do well, you might end up getting the full category or adding an extension to your category. You know, so like if you do well with the property, they might say, "Oh, now do collectible cards or just backpacks or whatever." You know.
Absolutely.
IDW is doing backpacks.
You heard it here first.
Well, breaking waves.
We're kickstarting them. We're gonna
So,
kickstart a Bluetooth back.
I like your style there, Boyan, of trying to avoid my questions, but I'm going to come back at you, and that's right. You have successfully alluded, saying what some of these spoilers coming to Toy Fair, but can you at least give a little spoiler hint of what kind of news you might be sharing? I mean, with this little audience, there's hardly anyone watching.
That was like an
Yeah.
offer you can't refuse. You just made him an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah.
Or you'll find a horse head in your
Honestly,
Honestly,
honestly, I cannot say, but I will guess in a vague way say that I'm helping represent a large tech company moving into the space.
Eh?
Sure that they know the space and they know the key players and that we're building something really cool together.
Cool.
And that it will make a big splash and should make all of our lives better. Again, I like to think of tide that rises all boats. Like I try not to like help any one person, but help everyone, because if the pie is bigger, we don't have to fight over smaller slices. We can just.
For sure.
Can we guess? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I think I know.
No, we won't guess, but actually, I do have a
You just
follow-up.
confirmed Google Glass is buying Golem Arcana.
Google Glass is
Very
very
obvious.
So obvious.
But I do want this, Boyan. What about when it is allowed to be announced at Toy Fair? Because I'll be there. Then can I at least like report it then?
Yeah, come talk to me.
I will come talk to you.
Yeah.
And you'll let me know when I can release through the Meeple Syrup channels.
Sure.
All right.
At least we got that kind of semi-scoop. Semi-scoops are better than not scoops at all. Whose question is next?
Well,
I
I
have a
think
question.
Tyler has something. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question regarding board games and Toy Fair, which what you kind of brought up at the beginning of the show, Daryl. The fact that board games have risen exponentially, pretty much, as far as making money in the market and companies grabbing attention. The people I feel bad for is the little guys. I mean, IDW is a pretty big name, but you have tons of little pocket mom and pop shop game companies that, and I'm not talking big companies coming in. I'm talking like, Walmart and Costco and all these places that, I don't care about board games. Suddenly they're making money. They're wanting to grab that apple, and you have all these little guys that are like, oh my goodness, you're stealing our bread.
Sort of. I mean, at Toy Fair, a lot of the sales are actually directly to retailers.
Yeah.
For much of toy and specialty, hobby, education, there are no distributors. Distribution is a strange, like dinosaur that exists in hobby board games, but does not exist in other forms. And so, if I am a small mom and pop shop, I go to Toy Fair. I go to Toy Fair to buy the coolest stuff and like get the good deals and get the promo items and like have a direct connection to the publisher. It's actually the opposite. The small publishers really like Toy Fair because they get to do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The mom and pop retail stores like it because they can have the connection directly to the publishers. But larger retailers like it too because they can actually see the full catalog. They can make decisions. They can make changes if they need to. Like they can talk to the publisher and say, "Hey, could you change this cover?" Or would it be okay if we do this instead of that? And then because they're ordering for a lot, so just to give you numbers, like Target has 1,700 stores nationwide, and if they buy a case, 6 units, that's 10,000 units. So that's the kind of sale that's happening at Toy Fair.
And that's worth making a variant cover.
Yeah.
Right. So they might
Right.
say something like, "Hey, can you drop the price, or can you put it in different packaging, or why is this there, or this is nice, but is there something that's tied to this but smaller, or whatever?"
Oh, kind of like my Toys R Us exclusive Girl Talk Jenga, like that.
Very,
Perfect.
very,
Perfect.
very much exactly
Example.
like that.
Perfect
That's a good
example.
example.
I will
Pretty
say
much
this,
that.
Tyler. While scrolling through the names of all the booths that are at Toy Fair,
Yep.
for example, I was going through just the letter G, and there were 200, and I recognized.
Why G?
It was the next letter grouping. So I chose G, and I scanned through, and I recognized 3 companies of those 200.
Wow.
Because it's just like Great White North Games, Great North Games, Great Shark Games, Great Zebra Games.
Did you say Great Shark Games? Or shark? No.
So definitely there is a variety, as Boyan was mentioning,
Mm-hmm.
of big players and smaller stores and everywhere in between.
Yep.
Hmm.
Cool.
Hey Nate, does IDW have any plans on getting into the toy end of things?
Oh,
Have you guys ever done toys? I can't think of an IDW related toy because most of the stuff that you would make toys of already have toys, like the Joes and the Transformers and whatnot.
yeah, exactly. So we're if you don't know us through games, you know us through publishing, and we're the biggest licensed comic publisher in the world, and our biggest partner is Hasbro. So yeah, we would never make toys based off those comic lines. That said, I'd like to be in that business. I was talking with my boss today about growth beyond board games, and I do think that there's some cool toys, collectibles that I want to get into. So we're very open to it, and we have some opportunities, especially with TV shows coming up that we own, to maybe make figures and different stuff off of. So yeah, it's coming.
But the way to get around that is to have it be whatever the game, the thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this figure is not the figure; it's the figure of being
the
a
toy. Yeah.
Sure. The other famous one for that is you go to the impulse aisle and you see all those keychains, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're just toys, but they couldn't get the toy license, so they're keychains. But they don't actually attach the little keychain on top. You have to put it on yourself.
You put it on yourself.
So yeah, I mean, the oversized 80 millimeter piece that we throw in Turtles at the end. That'll be a great toy. It'll have a rule or two.
Yeah, but it's a toy. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, I gotta let Boyan go because we actually interrupted him from preparing some exams.
Yeah, sorry guys.
We appreciate you popping in here and sharing a little bit, and I look forward to seeing you at Toy Fair.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. We'll see you later, Bo. And we have to do a show at some point about education and game design. So we'll
love it.
Yeah, we'll pick that up some other time. Okay, cool. See you later, Bo.
Okay,
Nice to
bye.
see you again.
Have fun, guys.
Bye. And then there was one.
Dun, dun,
His
dun.
name was Nate Murray.
Hey.
I have a question for Nate. Regarding IDW and licensing, what are some licenses that you guys would like to go after? Like G.I. Joe, could we see a Larry Hama era G.I. Joe type game?
No, I like where you're going with that, Tyler.
Ooh, Larry Hama is still doing G.I. Joe for us.
I don't know, but I'm talking like the early 80s when it was actually like really, really good. Like
You mean
really
like let's break up our team into 4 things: go to the north, the south, the east, and the west.
Yeah,
Get the crystals for the temple.
We
80s?
continue that storyline every month.
I
so
know.
Go to the
I was
comic
going to
shop.
say,
I know you
when
do.
did that stop?
You just walked into
It
one.
really has. Because you know
I
what?
love
They
G.I.
need
Joes.
something for Snow Job to do. Snow Job
No.
needs a job.
There
Gotta be
is-
something up in the Arctic.
We are
Yeah.
continuing that old comic line still every month. So
Yeah.
Nice.
we
There's
do
something
do that.
underwater because Deep Six
but
needs to go
Game
diving.
needed dudes on a map.
To
But will we see that translate onto a game board?
You will never see a Hasbro game from IDW Games. I've been told repeatedly, so I'll tell you now.
told that as well.
Yeah, he will never see it, and it's not because we wouldn't stop everything except for Turtles to go do it, but it's because
What
they have
about-
their own game division and
What
they're
about
ramping
if
up. over
Hasbro
there.
and Mattel merge and they have to let go of some stuff because of antitrust monopolies?
That's super interesting because there's stuff I want from Mattel too. So
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I'm going to try to make happen.
yeah.
Try to make that
You're
happen.
going to cause a derisive rift between.
I'm gonna bring Mattel and Hasbro together.
You're gonna get in the room.
Oh, they're
I'm gonna
already
make
in a
that
room.
happen.
So
Exactly.
Okay.
The boats are already going together.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna say, so that the world is okay with this, just release all of IDW stuff.
Well, if you can't get the licensing, I just had a great brainstorm idea. What you could do, because you always go into like the dollar stores and they got the cheap Star Wars knockoff
Oh,
games.
God.
It's knockoff game to knockoff. You can't get G.I. Joe, well, this is G.I. Jake. And then you just do the game, it's all the same stuff, but he's got weird colors on him. Here you go. There.
Toxic paint, you know.
I just saw a Kickstarter that was, it basically said we're ripping off Star Wars, and it made 300,000 cards were the Death Sun, not the Death Star. I mean, I could not believe how rampant they were on it. I hope they got shut down. To be fair, I don't want to be too salty, but
if they
having
didn't
to
get
work
shut
with
down, they're going
approvals.
to get sued someday.
Yeah, but having to work with approvals, I mean, every single card was that. So yeah, there's the options to G.I. Jake, but as a company as big as we are, definitely we can't. Hasbro's been so cool with us. Like they just gave us, they just gave us ROM just purely because our editor-in-chief has wanted it for 5-10 years. They finally just said, they didn't really want to, but they're like, okay, because you're great partners. So.
Oh, so you guys are doing Space Knight?
As a comic, yes, it's coming out in May. Yeah, totally.
Very neat. So. Yeah, and I mean, just from the other track, from the other side of the track, from the Hasbro track, I know that anything that has a tie to the movie universe is pretty much off limits for game design for a while anyways, until they shake all that out. Because obviously board games is not as big a market as the movies, so they have to make sure that the continuity within the movie lines, because you'll see at some point some of them are going to do things that will cross over, sort of like the Marvel universe is doing. And in that respect, they can't let the designs kind of go away from that yet. So there you go. So so no Transformers board game, no G.I. Joe board game, no
Transformers vs. G.I. Joe board game.
No, none of that yet. And one day maybe we'll see it, and I'll let you know when I get a call and say, hey, design that. I'll say, okay, cool, I'll do that. Or somebody else gets a call and we get the call that they got the call. We'll also do that too.
That's the funniest, is they got the call.
You never know.
I got that call from someone.
Yeah. It's an interesting world with IPs. But back to Toy Fair. So Nate, have you ever been to Toy Fair?
No, I man the shop while Jerry and Kurt go to Toy Fair, especially this year.
How fair is that? How fair is that?
100% fair. I have
was
no
just gonna say,
interest in
Nate
New York in
shows,
February.
so.
I Gamma is my favorite show of the year. It's low key. It's easy.
Nice.
It's Vegas. It's Reno next year. So that's my favorite show. As long as I'm on the Gamut squad, that's the only show I need to work every year.
How's the poker scene in Reno compared to Vegas?
I have a little more fun at I played my favorite table ever in Reno.
Okay.
I played a legendary table in Reno. I played the best hand of my life there. That was really good. But,
so you're like the one person happy that Gamma's moving.
I am. Me and John Ward we will convince the world, because the Peppermill in Reno compared to the Bailey's in Vegas. No offense, Bailey's. That doesn't matter, right? I can say this. The Peppermill's gorgeous. It's an awesome hotel. I can say that the Bailey's is not ideal.
Of course you can say that.
Yeah,
you
okay.
totally say that. It's your opinion.
Yeah, my opinion is the Peppermill is one of the best hotels I've visited, and I'm so happy we're moving the convention there. It's really nice. You guys are going to dig it.
Yeah, awesome.
I've never been to Gamma. I got to do Gamma one of these.
I am actually looking forward to trying to get to Gamma at some point. So
that's super fun.
Yeah, I mean, our first game got signed at Gamma, so I'd like to go to Gamma at some point. I just never got around to it.
The Belfort story.
Yeah, the Belfort story. But let's talk more about what what the future holds for IDW in terms of. So we're talking about New York, and obviously the Turtles story started in New York and ends in New York and all that kind of stuff, being that that's where they live in the comics. So what do you think the market penetration value? If we're talking about Toy Fair, we're talking about Turtles. Let's combine the two and say, is there a hope for the hobby version of the game getting into mass market? What do you think?
Oh boy, I don't know what price point. So if it comes out at a $90 price point, is that realistic? Yeah, I think what you'd see instead is.
Would you do this? Like stand-up,
some standees. Yeah, but I don't think the gameplay mechanics are going to go mass either. So I think instead what you might see is some of those sculpts picked up and used in a $40 kid-friendly, Rock'em Sock'em versus Rocksteady and Bebop.
Yeah, it could be like a skirmish, just like a plain simple.
Just yeah, almost a roll and move, but not. I don't know that. Have you seen anything at Barnes and Noble above 60 yet?
Not really. It's mostly like
Yeah.
things like Tapple and Ticket to Ride and.
Here's the obvious one. If Star Wars Imperial Assault didn't bust out and show up somewhere last year, then this Turtles game is not going to do it, and that's not a shot at us. That's a fact.
No, it's like that movie would have sold. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Merc Day at Target this year, but there sure was for Star Wars last year, right?
Right.
So if Imperial Assault wasn't part of that rollout, we're not going to be part of the rollout either. So we'll have to make a mass game. We do have the rights to do so.
Okay. And are you guys aiming at mass in any way, shape, or form in the next little while from the board game side of things?
On what brand?
Any brand. What brands do you guys got that are in mass right now? I don't know that.
Yeah, we have Machikoro's in.
Right. Thank you.
Monsters, X-Files. Back to the Future, I think will go. Other iterations of that brand. We're trying to start smaller line stuff depending on results of this show, but we're pitching. Would you want to see 60 card? We've gotten feedback, so we're going out there with some mock-ups. Would you want to see 60 card deck games on pegs, things like that? So we try everything and come back and adjust accordingly. But some of our brand stuff's on now.
Do you guys think you can get the licensing to Greatest American Hero? Oh.
Honestly, I think somebody pitched that to us like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, believe it or not, somebody.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, some of the stuff that comes through is pretty amazing. I can't say any of it, I'm sure, but we've gotten either very close with us hunting it or very close with them pitching it on so many hilarious titles. So
I'll believe it.
You never say never.
Mm-hmm.
The Beachcombers.
I don't think Nate knows what that is. Nate, do you know who the Beachcombers are?
I do not know who the Beachcombers are.
It's a very Canadian thing. You have to be Canadian.
Very Canadian.
That will not sell. That will not even sell in Canada, guys.
No.
It was really. It's what happens before the magical world of Disney went in the 70s and 80s. That's what Beachcombers was.
Oh wow. Okay.
You'd watch the Beachcombers, and then you'd get the magical world of Disney. What else is there in IDW land? So in our little side chat over there that you guys can't see who are watching us, when Godzilla we talked about Godzilla, then Nate said, Godzilla? What's up with that? And the reason why is because IDW publishes the comic book version. And so that kind of goes back to what we were talking about in terms of this is not necessarily licensing, but it kind of is, where we have the movie rights, and IDW would have the comic book rights. So it's this interesting kind of, well, how is this going to work out, or can IDW do something to make a game? And they probably can. It just depends on how the rights are all cut up and spliced out, right?
Right. So you publicly spoke about Godzilla, so you have a game in the works for it then.
Yes, 100%.
Is that with Toy Vault?
It's with Toy Vault.
Yes, 100%.
It's with Toy Vault. Okay, and that's based off movie.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah, we Godzilla's cool as heck, and so we don't have game rights on the publishing side, but I personally am the writer of the longest-running Godzilla comics / employee of IDW, Chris Mowry, really would like to see a Godzilla game as well. So I was surprised. I didn't know that Toy Vault was still developing anything. I know they did a few. I'm glad to hear that they got on Quality Design to do a new one, though. So I'm excited for you. Congrats.
It's a strategy game, too. It's not light. Like, they've had light stuff like Godzilla Stomp.
Yeah, they've had Godzilla Stomp, which is
a friend of our show.
Yeah.
But this is a card game deck. You're actually like building it out and strategizing against each other.
Is that a deck builder?
No, it's more like a expandable card game.
Interesting. No 3D components then?
Nope, not at all.
All right,
Yeah,
so
so I
maybe we
mean,
can have comics in 3D.
yeah, if you're interested in talking about, the Godzilla thing is near and dear to my heart. I
I
would.
was just going to say, Sen has been deep in Godzilla research mode. So
Yeah, but even
No, it's
before
awesome.
that, even
And
some of my favorite memories of my childhood are watching black and white Godzilla movies on reel. Um,
Wow,
yeah,
cool.
I grew up watching Godzilla, so there you go.
Nice.
Maybe it's an Asian thing. I don't know.
No, I did too, so I love
Yeah.
that. But no, right now, to be, again, to be clear, IDW does not have game rights for any version of Godzilla, whether it be our own comics or that's a different right you have to pursue.
Right.
You don't just get to make derivatives of your publishing material. You have to carve that out. That's why we don't have toys yet and all that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's funny. We just had the conversation this week about Godzilla and how fun that would be. It was Maori and I, but yeah, I really am excited to check out your game. At least I
Cool.
know that'll be a
Yeah.
good
Well, I mean,
Godzilla
next
game
time we
coming.
meet up, we'll show it to you as well. So,
Perfect.
Daryl, you had
circle.
a
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I will circle back because we're almost running out of time. We're we
Okay.
got 4 minutes.
How'd that happen?
But one thing
Jeez.
that's happening, big thing tomorrow, and we've been hyping it on the Kickstarter, mentioning it is going to be the first live stream playthrough of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
Woo.
there is a bit of a playthrough video that people can look up if you want to see some of the gameplay in action. You can find that on Kickstarter, on the Kickstarter page if you scroll down. And there's an animated version to explain to you that you get to see some of the things like the cool dice mechanic and see just how like kind of a turn would take place. But if you want to see a scenario, an act, a battle, then tomorrow night, same time that we no, it's not the same time that we do our show. What am I talking
No,
about?
it's a different
It's
time.
8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh.
If you tune in to the Nerd Nighters Twitch feed, so that would be DFW Nerd Nighters on twitch.tv, you will find a live playthrough where my play testing group will be playing through a scenario, and if people have questions about the game, Nate will be on, and also Ace from Nerd Nighters will be on. Ace will kind of represent like the average person who's coming in blind and doesn't know anything, so he'll kind of ask Nate questions as well. But between the two of them, they'll chat and talk about the game while we're playing, and so people can see the game in action, and you can see kind of how the turtles work together against the villains, and how they use the cool sharing dice mechanic that Kevin Wilson has come up with how each of the characters are unique because of their special power cards and because of their stats and because of their unique dice, and see how the scenarios work out, and how then that'll give you a bit of a lead so that you can see how really all the books are going to work.
So
Because
who gets to play Shredder tomorrow?
that's a good question. Last time I was with my playtest group, they wanted me to be villains, but that's mostly because they just like attacking me. So that might end up happening again. But we'll see. I mean, maybe we'll have to fight it over. We have the pizza already ready, ordered, and we'll have a fight over who gets to be which Ninja Turtle, and then who gets to be the villain.
Nice. Cool. And so just for audience members, that's going to be on the Nerd Nighters channel, on their Twitch channel. Eventually, Daryl and I'll get our act together. It's just been pretty hectic over here with going to traveling for whatever and traveling for Toy Fair and whatnot. Nerd Nighters had it started up before they left for Mega Civ, so they are up and running for the last month, I think, really on Twitch. So we're going to get our stuff hooked up that way too, so we can do more of that type of thing, I think, over the long run,
Exactly.
because it's definitely something that we think is a value add that we like to do, and we enjoy playing other people's games, especially when they're in the raw form. As designers, and as this show is the mandate is designers discussing design, I think showing off games in their prototype form or near to finished form is one of our imperatives, really.
Yeah.
So
and one other thing,
yeah, go
and
ahead.
then so that's happening tomorrow, and then next week, talking about designers talking about design, we'll have Kevin Wilson in on a live Twitch of playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles via Tabletop Simulator.
Oh, cool.
So then
Cool.
people can listen to Kevin as he plays the game with a few of us on the Twitch feed live as well, so people can see that and see the game in Tabletop Simulator.
Nice. Did Ace do the simming?
Yeah.
Did Ace do the simming?
He's
Good.
working on it right now.
Yeah, awesome. Do we have any last-minute questions for Mr. Murray?
I'm just scrolling through the audience right now, and I can't see anything because I'm scrolling too fast.
I just wanted to give a shout-out for Cat Tower. Cat Tower.
Yeah.
Cat
I saw it
Tower.
at my local game store.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I feel like my local game store just must have got an enormous IDW shipment because all of a sudden it was like everywhere. There was
we had 3 games backed up and they all went out together, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it was just everywhere. I mean, they even had the Open Sesame. They had they had everything set up. What's the C one? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. In the tin, beautiful tin.
The Pirates of the 70s?
Pirates of the Seven Seas.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I felt like it was almost an IDW shrine. I was like, wow, this is great.
That's what every store should look
At
like.
J&J's. J&J Cards and Collectibles.
Home of the
Nice.
IDW game line.
Yeah. Good stuff. Let's call it a show, and then we'll start the after show. And if there's anything else that people want to ask to Nate, maybe Nate will stick around. Or Nate, do you need to go to bed?
He needs to go.
I'm cleared, man.
All right.
You're awesome, man.
Tonight's
Okay.
great.
After show. During the after show, so that everyone knows, we're going to first pitch what we think Boyan's spoiler is.
Yes.
So it might be Google Glass, it might be something else. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I want another crack at
Listen
that.
to our pitch of what Boyan is going to release. We're going to do maybe our top 10 Boyan releases for New York Poker. All right.
We're going to get it right.
Meanwhile, just keep making great games. We look forward to trying your games soon. Roll the credits.
Well, I would if you had given me time.
That's why how much more
Let's
time do you need?
transform an IDW out of here.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. One second.
How many pitches do you need, dude? That was gold.
There we go.
All right, I only accidentally announced one game on that. Not bad.